A Giants podcast for Giants fans
by Giants fans.
From the offseason to the wins and the losses, it's time to take one Giant step.
Welcome aboard. It's One Giant Step. How's everybody doing? We're powering through into Memorial Day weekend, which means summer is right around the corner, which means June is right around the corner, which means, and this is in my football eyes, Bryce Gelman. I, Shaun Morash, Bryce Gelman here with you each and every week on One Giant Step, which means we are 1 month away from the month in which the Giants will have training camp.
Time flies, man. Every year. The offseason goes by like this. It's unbelievable.
A month from now, we'll be looking at the end of June, staring at July, going, oh, by the end of July, training camp. So it does go by quick, even though I don't want to rush summer along by any means because I love summer. But that's what we have set up for you. So here on One Giant Step, you can download, subscribe to us free on the Audacy app, everywhere podcasts are available. By the way, to all of us that watch us, all of you out there that watch us on YouTube, thank you. I've heard the YouTube numbers are doing very, very well. My people at WFAN tell me. And you guys are tuning in. Draft month was a very, very good month for Bryce Gelman and myself over there. So keep it here. And the reason you want to download, subscribe, the audio version, if you should choose, we're going to have these fun little pocket-sized episodes, right? 20 minutes, half an hour, just kind of keeping you in the loop, doing some fun stuff. Bryce and I outlined a bunch of that stuff that's going to take us to training camp. And this is a fun one today. This is a really, really fun one today.
Yeah.
Me and Bryce are each going to give us the 5 road trips in order, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're planning or thinking about making a Giant road trip now that the schedule's out, on what to do, where to be. Bryce and I have both been to several cities. Obviously, I've been fortunate enough in my work to travel to plenty. I can give you a lot of tips, a lot of insight, and I got a lot of reasoning as to why. But, Bryce, before we get into that,
we're back.
There's Giant news.
We're back,
Giant
baby.
news. We're back in the New York groove, baby. So, and also, this is going to be a Knicks choke-free podcast. We're not going to do that here. So
Shut up.
Bryce, I'm just letting people know, don't worry about that.
We're not talking about it. Okay, you don't even have to bring it up. Let's go. Come on.
You okay?
No. Do you see me? I slept like 2 hours last night. Look at me.
Relax. We are taping this on Thursday morning, May the 22nd. You do the math with Bryce Gelman. At Bryce Gelman on Twitter for his Knicks coverage. At Shaun Morash on Twitter and X for my Pacer coverage, I guess. Okay, so they make the announcement yesterday, the NFL does, amongst other things. First of all, Tush Push not getting banned. I'm okay with it. Look, the play's boring to me, but at the same time, I think it is sour grapes to go, oh, they found a way to make a play that is very hard to stop. And look, we got Daniel Bellinger hurt when we tried to run the Tush Push as the Giants. As much as I hate the Eagles, I'm not somebody that's going to pound the table and go, you have to ban the Tush Push. To me, figure out a way to stop it. Otherwise, stop pouting about it. Make them not be in 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 situations. Bryce, any thoughts on that real quickly?
No, I saw it earlier on in the day yesterday where Ian Rappaport said it was likely that it would be banned. I don't know what happened in the last few seconds. I don't know if
Jason needed 2 more votes and couldn't get it.
I don't know if Jason Kelce came in and swung them. There were a few votes in the the non-ban category that I was very surprised about. The Lions being one of them, the Jets being another one. I don't understand that play. I just like it's banned in lower forms of football. I was listening to some guy who's got, it's Pop Warner High School. It's banned. You can't even do it. But I get it in the NFL. There's no there's no size advantage. Everyone's near the same size.
Exactly.
It's not like, there's one 6-foot kid playing 8th grade football. So I get it. I understand why, but I wish it was banned selfishly because I hate the Eagles.
Look, from it's just straight, if we're all raising our hand on a Giants podcast here on One Giant Step and going, we hate the Eagles, so ban it.
We ban it.
All right, that's fine. I'm just trying to be realistic. Realistically, as a football fan, I get not banning it. You know what I mean? Stop it if you hate it. I don't buy into the safety things. And as some have pointed out, specifically in social media, look, the push from behind and its name means something. The play all starts because 5 O-linemen dive down deep, down low, and get the block and the push. And it all starts with the O-line up front. Be better at it, other teams, and then maybe if every team's perfecting it, we could have the conversation of, well, this isn't football.
Dude, it's hard to practice for because no one is as good as the Eagles. Like you could run it in practice, but you're never going to get the same level of effectiveness that the Eagles get. It's difficult to defend.
I keep coming back to this. If you're in 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 with the Eagles, start getting 3rd and 2, 4th and 2, and make it a little harder that way. Find a way to stop them on those other downs. Now, Hard Knocks has been announced. Preseason edition. This, I think, is interesting. The Buffalo Bills are going to get the preseason version. I've said it before on this podcast. I'll say it again. I know the quality of Hard Knocks at times can very much vary, and it's had some down years, the preseason version in recent years. Having a team as elite with that much pressure on them this year, and the Buffalo Bills, when are you going to break through here, right? There's going to be a ton of pressure on them. To go away from the bad teams, so to speak, and kind of change things around and get one of the elite teams in the NFL on Hard Knocks. I'm interested to see the behind-the-scenes stuff, Josh Allen, Sean McDermott. I think that's pretty cool. But we're not here to do a Buffalo Bills podcast. The in-season version, which I have liked. I love the couple of years ago when Frank Reich's Colts collapsed at the end of the year and the cameras were following him around. I thought it was tremendous theater. The Miami Dolphins one 2 years ago actually was pretty good. I felt like I got to know Mike McDaniel a little bit. I think they've done a really good job with it. Last year they did the AFC North, and I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it. And to be honest with you, I do prefer the single team version of Hard Knocks over the full division after experiencing the AFC North one a year ago. But what it allows you to do is, you're getting definitely at least one playoff team because division winners make the playoffs. So it allows you to confirm you're going to carry over Hard Knocks into the postseason. Last year, they got to carry it over a little longer. Ravens make a little run there that extra week. They play the Steelers. But basically, it follows around the teams. And the most interesting teams, the playoff relevant teams, like the Ravens and like the Steelers, ended up getting a little more airtime than, say, the Cleveland Browns did with Jameis Winston and company a year ago. But here comes now, we find out the NFC East in-season Hard Knocks. So the New York Giants, after all the mockery, all the ridicule of the off-season Hard Knocks, where John Mara is basically making Joe Shane sweat, and the Saquon Barkley stuff, the HBO cameras will be back at the Giants facility. Before I tell you why not to worry, let's hear a disgruntled Knicks fan and Giants fan, Bryce Gelman, your reaction.
I'm excited. Like the NFC East is stacked. Like this is going to be fun, and it's not going to be anything like, of course, the offseason Hard Knocks. There's a reason why no team wanted to do it this offseason. We'll never see anything like that again. I think this is a completely different beast. This is a different animal, Sean. And you're also not just getting the Giants here. You're getting three other teams. Yeah. Listen, it's shaping up to be one of the most competitive divisions in football. There aren't going to be any easy games from any one of these teams in every single one of their matchups. There's no easy game. For the Giants, especially against the Cowboys, I think maybe the Eagles are going to be able to handle the Cowboys, probably the Commanders as well. But for us, for the Giants, I don't think the Eagles are going to blow us out. I don't think that the Commanders are going to blow the Giants out. So I think this could be enjoyable. This could be fun. You hope that the Giants season and the Cowboys season, both of them aren't done by week 10, week 11. So it could be a little bit more entertaining. But I think that the NFL made the right choice here with the NFC East.
Yeah, so just keep in mind, if you're unfamiliar with the in-season Hard Knocks, it does not start until after Thanksgiving. So you're not even going to get the story really told.
That's what I'm saying. You don't you'd hope that the season isn't over for two teams by then.
So I say that to say, having watched every episode of the AFC North one and how they tried to do the divisional one for the first time ever, this is why I'm going to stress to Giant fans not to worry after the embarrassment that was the offseason Hard Knocks, even though I personally didn't find it that embarrassing as much as other people did. I mean, I know the end result did. I thought it was kind of cool. Look, that followed around Giant scouts. It followed around the general manager, the owner, dare I say, in the general manager's hip at times with off-season moves. So when you see a bunch of off-season moves like that turn out the way they did in the season bad, that is what leads to the ridicule. We will know for the first time when we tune into this Hard Knocks where the Giants stand in the season, what has happened in the season. Nothing is going to be caught by surprise. We're not watching a retrospective at any means. And you're also going to be following the players and the coaching staff as opposed to the offseason stuff. So it's going to be more on field. Yeah. Okay. Now, I also say that to say, if the Giants season is lost by then, right? If they're out of the playoffs, Bryce, if the Giants season is lost by the time they get on Hard Knocks, what this allows us to do as Giant fans have a really unique perspective. When are they turning the keys to the franchise over to Jackson Dart? And I do think that there's an element to why that's appealing to do an NFC East Hard Knocks. Obviously, getting to know Jaden Daniels is going to be fun. The inside the Eagles stuff is going to be fun. The Cowboys are always a story. And look at their last 5 games on the schedule. They could unravel on national TV. There's so much juice here. And if you get the key transition to Jackson Dart at some point over Hard Knocks, I just think that makes for really good TV. And I actually think that no matter what the Giants' circumstance of the season is, of course, if they're winless and it's a total, such an extreme negative, then this will look bad. But let's just live in the worlds of, even if it's negative to an extent. That I think is going to make the Giants look good and get Jackson Dart in the right way and all of that. I don't think that this ends in the embarrassment that offseason Hard Knocks did. And to add to those other storylines, Washington, Philly, Dallas, even if the Giants are really bad next year, even if they're the Cleveland Browns of that AFC North a year ago, guess what the HBO cameras did? You got such minimal in that hour, such minimal coverage of what was going on with the Cleveland Browns. Quick check-in here or there. There's not going to be enough meat on there to have the Giants embarrassed if the other teams are really good also, because it's not a singular team event.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be cinema, as the kids call it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, Shaun, and it's going to showcase potentially, an increasingly competent organization that we believe the Giants to be right now. Like they're on the uptrend. They killed the draft. They killed free agency. And now let's see if that translates to the regular season. Hopefully we don't see much incompetence. We don't see, questionable decisions from here and there about who to start. And then, if they suck, and I like you're preaching to the choir here, I'd love to see Jackson Dart and how that whole story unfolds. So, I mean, I really don't have much to say. You're a much bigger Hard Knocks guy than me. Self-admittedly, I barely watch it. I'll be watching this in-season Hard Knocks 100%.
We might even be doing extra podcasts when that comes around, depending on where the Giant season is to react
More
to those
content
Hard Knocks.
for us. Very nice.
Hey, Bryce and I lived it with the offseason Hard Knocks, and we thank God it existed because it really helped this podcast a year ago. I got to be honest with you. It did. All right. That was a lot of fun. We did that. Every episode reaction. That was good, though. We got through July with that last year. Jeez.
Yeah, we did.
All right. Bryce, let's turn our page to the schedule being out. We did our full schedule reaction pod. If you want that, it still exists, living everywhere that you get one Giant Step. Go give it a listen. We kind of react as Giant Nation melted down, and we talked about why you shouldn't be melting down, and just look, the schedule is what it is. I have made, right before I had kids, I think 6 straight years of a Giants road trip out of it. I became, I guess, a mini expert on it. Several of you listening probably have done the same. Let me just first say this. This is around the time you plan, right? The schedule comes out. There's excitement building. If you are somebody talking about booking a Giant road trip with your friends, dare I say your family, don't really wait much longer to book it. I say that to say because summer happens. You have all these grand plans when the NFL schedule comes out. And there is going to be a large percentage of you that don't see it coming, but just life gets in the way. Then you start thinking about, fall happens where the kids are going back to school. You're thinking about the holidays down the line and your money and allocation of resources. If you don't book this trip within the first 2 months of that NFL schedule coming out, I would venture to guess a lot of you don't end up booking a trip because, again, life gets in the way and you're like, we should have done that. Yeah. So look into it. Flights will probably be at their cheapest around now and all of that. I've been to several cities, and let me just say this. If you're somebody that likes a big vacation every summer, or winter break, whatever it may be, you go to an island, you go to Europe, you go to Hawaii, you go to the Caribbean, you go to Florida Keys, you go to Disney, you do this, you do that. NFL road trips are a really fun way to see cities you otherwise wouldn't, quote unquote, vacation to, let's say. And you have some fun for a weekend, and you end up walking away going, I got to see my football team, and maybe I experienced somewhere I wouldn't otherwise go. Or maybe it is a popular, trendy city. We'll get to one of those. But it's another excuse to get there and see it in a different light and build up for a football weekend. I highly recommend. So, Bryce, I want to go 1 through 5 instead of 5 through 1, kind of like save the drama. Doing a reverse. I want to try something here.
The top ones first?
Yeah, because I'm curious.
Dude, I feel like 5 is a lot. Like 5 out of 8.
Yeah.
Like
I have 5. Look, if you don't, that's fine.
I got 3. I'm going to give you 3 because
I'll give you my reasoning. Okay, fine. I'll give you my. If you want me to give 3, you want to do 3? That's fine. Then
I think just like 3 makes more sense out of 8. Like instead of 5. Like that's just forcing it at that point.
Fine. I'll give you what would have been my next 2 at the end. But anyway, let's go.
That's fine.
My number 1, Bryce. I think yours would be the number 1 too. It's got to be Las Vegas.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So the Giants. Now that here, I'm going to give you kind of the cookie cutter reasons why this could make sense for you logistically. Giants are in Vegas the second to last week of the year. It is December 28th or 27th. Important to note if you're booking this trip. Don't plan on flying in Saturday night and book that flight now and go like, I'm just going to make a real quick run at this. That game potentially could be Saturday, December 27th. If either the Giants or Raiders are relevant, there is a list of 5 games. The NFL is going to pick 3 of them. By the way, actually a pretty juicy preseason slate with the Giants Raiders is the least appealing of the 5, but you never know how these things work out. Just prepare in advance that game could end up being a Saturday game. Vegas. I was fortunate to do this with the Jets. I went to my brother-in-law's bachelor party. Jets Raiders Sunday Night Football 2 years ago. Here's what you need to know. Vegas is Vegas, right? Whatever you want to accomplish in a 72, 48-hour period in Vegas is there for the taking. And also, a lot of you might have off between Christmas and New Year's that week. So maybe it's easy to get off and do a little wraparound weekend for you, which also makes it more appealing. I don't need to sell you on Vegas. You know all the ins and outs. Here's what I can tell you. Allegiant Stadium. From the outside, it's unbelievable. It's like a spaceship or whatever. Inside, I do have to be fair, little disappointed. Lack of bathrooms, urinals, especially we sat in the top deck. And not easy the way they laid it out. Instead of like a full wraparound bowl, you're going downstairs at one point to come back upstairs.
You can't go straight around.
Yeah, it's not a continuous thing. So just be aware of that if you're looking to buy.
Concourses are small too. Very small concourses.
Right. The concourses were thin, a little more steep. The stadium's built on top of you. I'm not saying it's a terrible stadium by any means, but I haven't been to a bunch of these new stadiums. It was surprising how they went that route for Allegiant Stadium. It's not that great a stadium inside. It's not the worst.
I think it's nice. I think it's aesthetically pleasing on the inside.
It's aesthetically pleasing, but I'm just saying for some of those things, I waited a little bit.
Flame is pretty cool.
Yeah, waited, but it's very fake looking. I waited a long time on the bathrooms. The concourses were tight. Easy to get a beer, but I still put it number one because it's a weekend in Vegas. Mandalay Bay is the casino to look at. Whatever the case may be for that game, if you want to go out for the early games, there is a bar. I'm forgetting the name of it, right next to the sports book, Muhammad Ali statue outside. You could pre-book tables for there. We did that to watch some of the football. They give you like 3-hour windows, certain minimum. You don't have to do bottle service or anything like that. Really cool. You can hang out at the Mandalay Bay Sportsbook, and it's a simple walking bridge right outside the Mandalay Sportsbook.
It's the closest
cool
casino to the stadium.
Yeah, it's cool as hell. But you have a great time, great weekend. So you're with me, Vegas number one.
100%. Yeah, I mean, listen.
Anything else, Dan? You've been to Vegas a couple times, but I think I laid it out for anybody that hasn't been.
I've been to Allegiant twice now. I went for WrestleMania a few weeks ago too, and I like it. I think it's aesthetically pleasing on the inside. The concourses leave a lot to be desired. I also think I'm going to caution you by saying this. Some people forget this. Vegas in the winter is cold. Vegas, I was there in November. We were both there in November for that Jets game. It was sick. Okay, but it was 60 degrees. I was expecting 75 and sunny, going to Florida.
It's 60.
It's chilly. It's chilly, 100%.
60 degrees in November when I was there. I didn't not wear shorts once. I had shorts on.
Okay, I understand that, but now late December, it's going to be colder than what it was in November.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
You're not going for the pool parties, Bryce. We understand that.
I get it. It could be a little chilly. It's not like Vegas in the summer where it's 110 degrees.
But picture a nice fall day. That's what you're getting in Vegas there. I like that.
I get that. And also, the fact that it's right after Christmas, you'll get a large Jewish contingency in Vegas for that Giants game. I get it. If you celebrate Christmas with your entire family, you're all stuffed watching, the three NFL games that day. What a joke. Then you got, I get it. If you don't want to fly out the next day, you're spending the time with the family, but I think it's worth it. It makes a great week. You celebrate Christmas Eve with your family, and then you go out to Vegas and enjoy, hopefully what we'll see is a Giants win, and an entirely winnable game. Might be the most winnable game on the entire schedule, Shaun.
I agree. I agree. All right, I'm going to give you another winnable game for my number 2, Bryce. I have a feeling we're going to start to pivot on a bunch.
Yeah.
My number 2 is November 9th. Giants in Chicago taking on the Bears. I love Chicago as a good sports town to visit. Look, let me just start off this. If you read a lot about Chicago in the news, you might think, oh my God, I can't step foot in Chicago, right? Like we've all heard about the shootings and the violence, right? Like that is something, if you've never been and you just watch cable news, you think Chicago could be like the worst place on earth. That's not the case, okay? I went a few years ago, got to visit Soldier Field. Wasn't fortunate enough to go to a game there because it was in the offseason. I did end up at a Knicks-Bulls game. Chicago is authentically one of the coolest cities I've been to in this country. It has a bit of New York to it, a tinge. I like it a little better than New York. I got to be honest with you. I do as a city. I do. It's really cool.
Oh boy.
It's not a knock on New York. Boy. Where I was, at least, look, the nicer parts of Chicago are less shady than the nicer parts of New York. That is where I will tell you that. I love Millennial Park. I love the whole, Magnificent Mile. Great drinking town. Great food. The deep dish stuff. All of it goes into it. And also, you go on November 9th. Will it be a chill in the air? Sure. Is it going to be deathly freezing in Chicago like when I went in December? No. And the lakefront where Soldier Field is, pretty damn cool. Now, here's another piece of advice for you. Soldier Field doesn't exactly have the greatest tailgate situation, though. Okay, the main lot for Soldier Field happens to be a parking garage attached to it. Now, there's like another lot a little bit off a walk, but it's not what you would see in typical stadiums with like the wraparound big lots because it is downtown, the stadium. But there are plenty of awesome bars and stuff, which maybe traveling, you don't want to have to worry about tailgate and everything. Nice walk down to the stadium. And again, a potential winnable game for the Giants on November 9th and a very, very short flight. Geez, if that's a 1 o'clock game you want to book, and there's flights running from Chicago to New York all the time. You want to get an 8 o'clock flight home on a Sunday and not miss work Monday after a fun day and a fun weekend in Chicago? Go have at it. I'm in on the Chicago trip that week, Bryce.
So it's kind of close, and it's kind of close in timing too. But number 2, I got Detroit. Listen, I'm not going to tell you that it's a winnable game.
Detroit.
I think that the Lions are going to be a lot more susceptible to losing a game like this. Lost both their coordinators this year. Ford Field is one of the best atmospheres and environments in all of football. I think that would be really cool. It is expensive to get in there, but I think that and I've never been to Detroit. This is just like something that I want to go to. I think if the game was earlier on in the year, I'd probably be going to it. But it's late. It's late November. It's going to be cold, but you also picked Chicago in November, so I can't imagine that it'd be much colder than that. But listen, I think that Detroit is a very, I love the Lions. Like I don't, if you know me, I mean, I work for a Detroit radio station, so I listen to a lot of Lions talk. Okay. I listen to them talk about the city. It's an up and coming city. Obviously, the Lions are a really good football team. Again, I think they're going to take a step back this year, losing both their coordinators. But I think that's a cool. That's a cool place to go. Like Ford Field, you hear so many great things about it. The Lions are a good team. It's going to be a good fight for the Giants. It's going to be a good opportunity to prove themselves later on in the year because the schedule doesn't do them any favors, obviously. And I think that, I don't know, like, again, everything I've heard about Detroit is it's this up and coming city. 10 years ago, it was terrible. It was a mess, murder off the charts. And now you see a lot of these neighborhoods getting revitalized. And the downtown area, from what I've heard, is amazing now. So I think that would be a great trip.
It checks the box of a city you normally wouldn't vacation to, maybe for 3 days. Even if you hated it, you saw the New York Giants play a football game there. So I'm not going to kill you. I'm shocked you put it at number 2, but I'm not going to kill you for that. I'm going to save you the research on Bryce and I's each of our number 2. The weekend the Giants are in Detroit. Michigan is on the road in Maryland. The weekend the Giants are at the Bears. Notre Dame is on the road facing Navy. So you don't get either of those teams home if you're looking to do the classic double dip. That's Notre
Dame plays in South Bend, Indiana.
Oh, Bryce, you are geographically a moron. Do you know how close South Bend, Indiana is to Chicago?
Is it? Oh, yeah. How long of a drive is that?
Bryce, I could tell you this. People that have made the Chicago trip that do Notre Dame end up in Chicago all the time.
Okay, that's different, but you're not going.
You know how many people do the Notre Dame Wrigley trip? A ton.
Oh, dude, come on. This is a 2-hour drive?
Yeah. Yes. Bryce, it takes me 2 hours to get to
that was pretty good. Yeah. I mean, that was 2 hours.
This is why we're doing the podcast. I'm giving you info. I'm telling you because people are thinking, oh, wait, it's Notre Dame this weekend. I just saved them the research. This is why we do what we do. All right, number 3 for me, another one I've been to. Can't recommend enough. It's the Dallas trip. It's absolutely the Dallas trip. I've been to Jerry World, 4 Giants, Cowboys. Here's the tip for you, though. Don't book the Dallas trip and stay in Dallas, okay? Because what people don't tell you about the city of Dallas is it's very spread out. So where the Cowboys play, where the Texas Rangers play, and there's a big Six Flags there is Arlington, Texas, as we've heard of. And picture Arlington, Texas, and Jerry World being this big spaceship on this flat land in Texas. And to the left or the right, depending on where you're looking, is Dallas, Texas, a very business-centric city, the JFK assassination, Dealey Plaza, all of that. Okay? To the right of Arlington is Fort Worth. Okay? And Fort Worth is very much, that's where you get your line dancing, your good barbecue food, the country music bars, and all of that stuff. And that's where TCU is, fun college area town. Arlington's got some cool areas, too, the bars. Jerry World is awesome. It's a day-long party. You don't have to worry, by the way, if you don't have a tailgate to get to. They have, much like Philadelphia has Xfinity Live, they have Texas Live, where you could book a table ahead of time. Million big screen TVs. You could spend your college football Saturday there. Also, on game day, in Jerry World, once you get through the gates with your tickets, the gates open up a little earlier at Jerry World because they have that standing room only. There is a place called the Miller Lite Plaza. You walk there. There are beer carts, live music, and this enormous movie theater screen with Red Zone on where you can hang out for 3 hours before the game as a person that's traveled in from out of town. Jerry Jones did a good job of catering his stadium and the stadium grounds to fans that travel from out of town because it's like a football Disney World. It is really cool to see. The screen, obviously, when you get in the stadium is enormous. There really isn't a bad seat in the house. I sat in the upper deck for it. The people all weekend will be really cool to you. You get a lot of the Southern hospitality, but they will flip at the end of the game. Just be aware of that. They don't like that, especially if the Cowboys have a big win. Full disclosure, I walked out with a bunch of Giant fans. Like, there was a sea of us. It was Sunday Night Football, 2014, something like that. Jason Witten catches a pass over Uwani Unga at the end. They're firing beer bottles over our head. They don't want to, like, potentially hit. It got bad. All I'm telling you is,
just if the Giants win, what happens then?
I don't know. I didn't get to experience that. I'm giving you the full side of the story. Just be careful leaving the game. That's all I'm telling you. But beforehand, Texas is a fun party. Again, the honky tonks, all that stuff, Fort Worth. But Dallas is a city where Monday through Friday, I'm sure the lunch crowd, all that, it's probably bustling. It's a big city. But come Friday at 5 o'clock, this is what we noticed the weekend we went. Basically, there were tumbleweeds going throughout the city. A lot of the bars and restaurants are closed because nobody's really in the downtown. They have some parts because that's where American Airlines Arena is. So right outside there, you'll get your Hooters and everything else. But Dallas, for the most part, is really weird, dude. Like, you think of New York City pumping all weekend long. Dallas is not like that.
I've heard this. Yeah.
Everybody just does Arlington and Fort Worth. It's like Bizarro World. It's almost like, all right, everybody shuts down. It's so weird. But very fun time nonetheless. Make sure you stay in Fort Worth or Arlington, though, to fulfill your full weekend.
Yeah, I feel like you're much more obviously more knowledgeable. You're way older than me. What, like you're 60? And I'm 20.
I'm actually 38, you piece of garbage.
I know. I'm kidding. But you've obviously made a lot of these trips. My number 3 is Dallas as well. And I'm honestly it was one of my best friends as a Cowboys fan, so I'm considering getting a bunch of us on this trip this year. We got to do it within the next 2 or 3 years. Again, we're all young. We don't have kids yet. I mean, hopefully don't have kids anytime soon. I can't believe the Knicks lost that game. But I think Dallas, for me, definitely number 3. Again, in divisional matchup, this year could be the first year the Giants really make that the 2-game series competitive. So I think, again, you might be in trouble if the Giants win that game because it's been a very long time since the Giants won in Dallas. So I think that could be a lot of fun because I feel like, Shaun, this is the best chance they've had to win in Dallas in a very long time. So keep an eye on that. I have nothing, I don't know enough about the trip to tell you, but I know that game is very intriguing. Of course. Dallas,
and you'll get a ton of Giant fans in September. Weather's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it could be very hot, but beautiful.
Easily number 3 for me. I was thinking about putting Chicago as number 3, but I think the Dallas game is much more intriguing. The season won't be fully over by then. There'll be some hope that the Giants can win games. So for that reason, that's definitely number 3 for me.
So I'm going to give you the next 2 I had, because I know you didn't have 4 and 5. I'm not going to go too long-winded. I'll just explain. The next 2 I had were Denver and New Orleans. And the reason I had them at 4 and 5 is they're actually cities I'm very interested in seeing that I actually have never been to. And I would love to. I know people that have been to both games. Matter of fact, one of my best friends, basically a brother to me, lived in New Orleans for a couple of years for work, became a Saints fan, fell in love with the whole culture down there. He swears by it, where I know other people that have traveled down there, they walk away going, yeah, it was fun. We got drunk all weekend, but man, New Orleans kind of not that great a city. So I don't know. Depends what you're looking for. If you're young and you're just looking to have the hurricanes and have the parties, I'm sure New Orleans is a great trip. If you're maybe more scaled back, you've gotten older as a dad, you want to unwind and stuff, maybe that's not the big trip for you. So I kept that at the back. Denver, I've heard nothing but great things about. Beautiful scenery with the mountains. You obviously did downtown closeness of the stadium. It's a big drinking town, so you have a good time there. Maybe you like hiking, stuff like that. I've heard great things about Denver. Those are going to be my 4 and 5, Bryce. The 3 I left off real quickly, which ironically are probably 3 that most of our audience would be into, are the closest ones.
Yeah.
Philadelphia. Look, here's what I'll say about Philly. I don't even mind going to Philly. I've been there plenty of times to have beers and get a hotel night. But I went for the Knicks Sixers, right? You took over. Until the Giants have firmly entrenched themselves and we could trust that they're good again, I'm not taking the chance of going down.
You're not going there. You're not. No.
Yeah, no. I'm not going there. And because right now also the Philly fans just seems even more angry than ever. They just feel invigorated to.
They're always angry. They're always angry about something.
I don't know.
Their miserable lives. They should.
It's not a situation, and I've been to the Link. It's a nice stadium. It's not a situation. The Giants have to earn my trust back that they could go down there and compete before I'm even thinking about it again. So I'm out on Philly.
I told you. I went to the Link for the NFC Championship game 2 years ago against the 49ers, the worst sporting event that I've ever been to. Obviously, you could understand why. I was only there because of my ex, but I think that game, being around that crowd, I could only imagine how bad it would be for a Giants-Eagles game there.
Yeah.
The Giants suck.
And Washington's one of those things. FedEx Field is so far removed from the actual city of D.C. that it just kind of feels like a pain in the ass getting Landover. Now, it's a quick trip, but the stadium's kind of a dump. So they're going to be building a new stadium down the line. I'm sure Washington and the Giants week 1, you want to be there. I'm sure there'll be a ton of Giant fans there. It's just, for me, never say never that I don't end up there. There's nothing appealing about making that trip other than the length of time it would take drive or train to get there. Like that. If that's the biggest sell is, well, look how close it is. Is that really a sell in general? And then the third one, I'm not anti it, but it's a Monday night in December, which makes it tricky. And that's up in New England. Look, another quick trip for everybody to make. But you're talking about cold weather on a Monday night in December. You're not even talking about a Sunday. So you start really hacking up days off before Christmas. It becomes trickier to get there.
You got to take 2 there. You got to take Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah, and I've never been to Gillette yet, but from all accounts, Gillette is a real pain in the ass to get out to, especially if you're driving. Like there's one lane in, one road in, one road out. Could be a pain in the butt. Again, you only play there once every whatever it is, 8 years. Maybe it switches up depending on the rotation. But again, the timing, Monday night in December, is why I kept that off my list. So that is our guide. If you have any further questions on that, like seriously, maybe you've never been to Vegas or never been to Allegiant, and you have questions for me and Bryce, who have combined been there 3 times. Maybe you heard my tip on Dallas and you were like, wait a minute, Fort Worth, Arlington, what am I missing here? At Shaun Morash, at Bryce Gelman. Chicago. Oh, I didn't realize it was a downtown stadium like that, truly. So the tailgate said, well, what did you do down there? Again, at Shaun Morash, hit me up. Bryce has some ties to Detroit as well. We'll try to give you the best advice we can. The reason we're doing this podcast is not to fill time. We're doing it because it's fun, and you guys like Giants football. And part of the fun of Giants football, if you're lucky enough, is to take a road trip. So I stress this again: if you're looking to book it, because you're going to let time tick away, and you know how life works. You won't end up booking it. So, and that's what better time to have the Giants. At least you feel like the game's not going to be dead no matter what. Either they're going to be stinking or they're going to be going to Jackson Dart. So this is the time to start doing Giant road trips again. So download, subscribe everywhere podcasts are available. Do I know what's coming up next week on the Giants podcast? I don't. I sent Bryce a list. We're going to go through what we're going to do. We'll figure it out, but we'll be back. We'll be back after Memorial Day weekend, back in the New York groove. Enjoy the rest of the Knicks Pacers series. We'll catch you next week.
Lost that game. I can't believe they lost that game.
I'm sorry. Something's in my throat.
Dude, I screwed up my hand punching my desk.
Wow.
I destroyed my desk last night. I can't believe they lost that game.
Well, don't turn on the stove and hella burnt yourself. All right. Thank you to everybody for downloading, subscribing to One Giant Step. We'll catch you next week.